So who, I had to be in and out of the National Skills Coalition presentation because I had another meeting scheduled I had to jump out to. So who was in that whole thing and wants to kick us off with that?
I wasn't in long enough to hear. Okay.
We might still have some people coming back from that.
If not, we could always just have people introduce themselves too.
Yeah, happy to do that. You can give us a little recap of the Wall Street Journal thing too. Okay, folks who missed it. Well, I'm Elizabeth Yaukia. I'm the Workforce Development Librarian at the Washington State Library. That's what I do. Natalie, you want to?
You have a good day.
Hi, I'm Natalie Rupert. I'm the Manager of Career and Job Services and Workforce Development for the Kenton County Public Library System in Northern Kentucky.
I guess we'll just do the popcorn thing, even though I kind of hate the popcorn thing.
There's a friendly place. Let's let Carrie go next.
I'm sorry, I was just at the National Skills Coalition webinar, so I'm a little late. Did I hear my name? Do I need to say something?
Well, we're happy that you were there because we were supposed to discuss it in this meeting, Carrie, and both Elizabeth and I were in other meetings and only got part of that. So that's great that you're there. You're just introducing yourself.
It was good. There was several key players, many that we have worked with in the past, and Lara was kind of moderating, I'd say. And Amanda from National Skills Coalition was also there. And then Caroline Trichetta, she also was kind of a moderator / facilitator from National Skills Coalition. I don't know if we've interacted with her, or I don't remember her, but she was, it was very helpful. And Lauren Moore, the New York State Librarian, also spoke. Yeah, it was a great panel. It was definitely a full hour and 15 minutes. They kind of walked through the dissemination of all the funding in the 3 different phases that it's being released. So the first one is for planning grants, which is happening. That release of funding is May through June. Followed by state formula funding in next calendar year. And then finally, after that, the rest of next year, later, after the state formula funding, will be a federal competitive grant window in late 2023. And libraries are eligible to apply for that. So they were kind of just walking through the rollout of all the money. A lot of great just sharing of how, like in New York, they've been doing a lot of collaborative work, and also North Carolina, Durham has Digital Durham and a lot of collaboration with partners. But I loved the way they finished. Each of the speakers was charged in like the last minute to just give one last thought to help those attending be able to take that next step. And what can you do right now? What would be that first, like, leave this webinar and what can you go do? Understanding that everyone's coming from kind of a different place in their active or inactive role in their state. So hopefully these would be applicable for wherever you are in your work with digital equity right now. So one last thought is to find out who is the state organization or agency in your state that is disseminating the funds, because it's all flowing through different offices, different agencies. And somebody asked in the chat, is there a link to just know like the list of the states and here's who all the offices are? And they said no, that hasn't actually all been released. States are either figuring that out still or it's not public, but they said to do, contact your governor's office and do your like due diligence to find out who is the disseminating agency in your state. Second, set up a 30-minute call with someone who you don't know, but you know is also interested in digital equity, and see what you can find out from them. Third, kind of piggybacking on the first point about your state agency, is to contact your state broadband office and make a contact with them if you haven't already. Has nothing to do with advocating for yourself and your library and like what you bring to the table, but it's completely pitched from the angle of how can I help? What can we do? So very specific about where we come in on that contact. Number 4, know your workforce development office or your adult ed workforce partners in your community around you, because you will need to be working closely with them in terms of digital skills, you know, maybe broadband, maybe hardware, but it's really important to know who those folks are that are in your states and in your communities. Number 5, Lara's point was to inventory the assets of your library and know what you have to bring to the table. Also, as you do that, identify the gaps that you have and then begin to see who your partners are that can help you fill those gaps. And the last point was to seek out collaborative partners around you. Where is this work happening? Get involved if you're not already. And if the work isn't happening, start making the contacts with those around you that you can begin to get this work off the ground. So those were the 6 closing points to take with you. And they said that the slides and all the links that were being shared in the chat would be shared out before the end of the week.
Did they have those 6 points on a slide?
No, those were totally off the top of people's head. That she kind of just said, I'm going to give the panel a minute or two to think about this, and I'll come back to them. So it was totally just like their free thinking. So I don't know whether they'll capture those and put them into a slide or not, but it was a nice way to round out the time.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have those in writing.
Yeah, because I was writing as fast as I could to get them down. Yeah, I'll just start typing. I'll put them in the chat.
Okay, or if you could capture it in an email as well, then I can send it out with the meeting recording.
That's nicer. I'll do it that way. That's easier.
I mean, either way, I can grab it from the chat, whichever way you want to do it. I can just farm the chat transcript. I'm always mystified why nobody seems to know about this link, but there is a place where you can go and see where the broadband stuff lives in your state. And so it's actually on the NTIA site. So I threw that link in the chat. Who wants to, Carrie, do you want to select somebody else to go next?
It's already shared, but I will throw the ball to Justin.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Justin Brasher. I am the director of the McCracken County Public Library in Paducah. And pleasure to be here as always.
Just curious, Justin, last time when you were here, you mentioned that you were having difficulty hiring people. Have you had any better luck?
I have.
Okay.
It's gotten a lot better. You know, I was right around the time for those who are not aware of the last adventure of our intrepid hero. My adult services manager and our bookmobile driver put in their notice within about 2 weeks of each other. We have since hired a new public service adult services manager. She is extremely good from in-house. We're very happy with her. And we are interviewing for the new bookmobile driver this week. So it's going good.
Good. Thanks.
Sure.
You have to pick the next person.
Oh, I will throw the ball to Hillary. I see Hillary's emails all the time.
Well, thank you for your patience with my emails. I'm Hillary Ritt, and I'm the Workforce and Adult Services Consultant with the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives. And I will choose Leanne.
Hi, I'm Leanne Flandreau. I'm in Southwest, well, I'm currently in Portland, Oregon, but I work for a library system in Southwest Washington State, Fort Vancouver Regional Library District. So I work with Elizabeth a lot. I get the opportunity to work on some statewide projects, which is great. And this is the first time I have been able to successfully come to one of these meetings. They keep being on my schedule and other things keep coming up. So I'm really happy to be here, at least as a lurker and a learner for a while.
Leanne,
how about-
what did you say you did?
I'm the reference services coordinator for our library district.
Thank
I
you.
didn't say, Natalie, so thank you
Okay.
for prompting me. I will throw it to Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren Fellers. I'm a librarian for creative services in the Pikes Peak Library District in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And
Great presentation at PLA.
oh, thank you.
Can I just follow on that, Lauren, and say that I was only able to attend the virtual conference, so I wasn't able to see your presentation. So it would be awesome to have access to that. PLA is not making necessarily everything available as quickly as one might like. If it's up on the site, I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, I'm happy to share the slides and the other information as well. I can send that out, no problem. Let's see, Marty.
Yeah, hi. My name is Marty Johannes, and I'm with the Johnson County Library. I'm the Careers and Personal Finance Librarian. I have never been able to attend one of these meetings, so I just wanted to drop in and hear the kind of information that you share and get a feel for what these are all about.
Where did you say you were located, Marty?
In Johnson County, Kansas.
Thank you. Okay.
You might be our first and only so far Kansian. How do you say your
Kansan.
Kansan, of course. All right, you get to choose the next.
Oh, okay. Since I thought this was starting at 1:30, I was a little bit late to the introduction, so I don't know who's gone yet, but how about Melanie Lorraine Zaski?
Yes, thank you so much. And that's interesting. My grandparents are from Kansas, so that's interesting to hear. Melanie Lorraine Zaski. I am the Director of Member Services for Resource Sharing at Cephlin. Cephlin is a library cooperative serving Southeast Florida, about 6 different counties. And I've been trying to get here for 2 years. So it's like, well, and I've literally looked every single week at, dang, I have to miss it again this week. Dang, I have to miss it again this week. So it's very good to be here today. Thank you so much.
We are very happy to finally have you.
Melanie, is Fort Myers in your district?
Actually, I think they are a little bit north, but we actually serve everybody in Florida. So we serve them too. Yes.
Okay.
Melanie, I was once part of Nephlin once upon a time. So
Awesome.
Yeah, those Florida networks, they have the longest acronyms, but you know, I love them.
They do, don't they? And we all kind of work together. So it's really cool.
Hello, I'm David Stiffen, Program Manager for Workforce Development for the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library.
I think we haven't heard from Emily, Arlene, and Detrice. All right, did I miss anybody? You can start with Emily.
Hello, everyone. I am cameraless today, but I'm Emily Goodman. I'm the Adult Services Coordinator at the Office of Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Office of Library and Information Services. So this is my first time here. I'm fairly new to my position. So I'm excited to sort of hear what everybody has to say and learn what the group is all about. Oh, and I can pass it to Detrice.
Good afternoon. My name is Detrice Fox. I'm an adult services librarian at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library, and I do workforce development, career development programs there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Arlene Weibel from the State Library in Oregon. I apologize, I've been having connectivity issues, but I just wanted to mention I was also listening to the National Skills webinar, and it was incredibly inspiring in terms of, call to action for libraries in a way that I think was somewhat different than what I've been hearing in the way of, stop advocating and start doing was another theme that Lauren Moore from New York, I thought really pounded home, is that if you are building the programs that are addressing the needs, that you can present a program that is, shovel ready for the funding that is eventually coming down from the feds, you're going to be so far ahead of what these planners are doing, because these folks that are working with the federal funding are used to talking to internet service providers and technology folks. They're not used to, they don't know anything about skills building. And so if you can present them with a ready-made program, they're going to fund it. I mean, that's basically, what, no guarantees, obviously, but, it was, I thought that was a really interesting take on what I've been hearing attending some of these sessions. Is like, well, the money's coming, so be prepared. It's like, well, be prepared by getting your own house in order, because if you are doing a good job and you have, you can articulate what the needs are, they're going to fund it, because they're going to have the money and they're going to be looking for these kinds of programs because they don't know who to turn to. So
that's a good point. And I'll just say too, kind of along those lines, I put in the chat that oftentimes in the formal workforce development system where we find digital literacy is in adult basic education. But in my experience here in Washington, those folks are just starting to clue in to the fact that that is an adult basic skill. So, we've been in this space for a long time. I keep saying over and over again, I feel like we should be owning it, but just be aware that they are definitely newcomers to it in most areas, I think, and could probably use, if not our expertise, then I don't know how to put your foot in there, but I would get in there.
Another thing they talked about was, libraries as connectors. And, even if you don't have the programs, you do have, if you have the connections in your community, we could use our trusted, reputation as a convener. And if a library wants to start a coalition, you're more likely to get people listening to you because of, your standing in the community, and particularly if you can talk about the needs that you are seeing walking through your door, because I do think that is not, there aren't a lot of, there are community organizations that work with clients, but I don't know that there are a lot of institutions other than libraries that see the wide breadth of the different kinds of needs. And they were saying that that's another, and they said the other thing is making sure that you not only bring your experience with those folks to the table, but bring those folks actually to the table as well. So policymakers can actually hear what the impact of skills programs have on individuals' lives. And those folks who have gone through the programs are the best have the best information about how to continue to work to solve the problem. And don't forget that you don't necessarily just represent those people. You can actually funnel those people into the process itself, the planning process itself. So.
Yeah, I love that you made that point, because I think, you know, bringing those people to the table so they can speak for themselves is critical. I think we've done too much as, you know, a white female majority speaking on behalf of those communities, which I will say here in Washington, it's been an interesting experience to join some of those coalitions, not forming them, but joining them. Leanne knows exactly what I'm talking about. And being aware that while we do have a reputation as a trusted institution in the community, which I think is very true among our sort of demographic, just going to say that. And while we would like to have that reputation and be seen as that, you know, recognized and seen in that with some of these CBOs, you know, specifically representing people of color, which is where this experience I'm speaking to comes from, that they don't necessarily see us in that way, as much as we would hope that they would, and we feel like we've worked toward and all those things. And so I think an added opportunity to listen to them and let them be open to letting them criticize, if you were, or speak to their experience in libraries that might not be what we all hope and thought it was, I think is an opportunity that I personally think I don't want to let pass by. It's difficult to hear, but I think it's critical if we are very serious about moving forward, which I think we all are, we wouldn't be in this space. So Audrey Barbakoff just joined us, and this is a perfect opportunity because this is like the work that she does, is community listening and involvement. So perfect segue.
Awesome. I'm just here to, I was glad to see that people are using this as a follow-up. I wasn't able to make it to the webinar. I'm hoping to catch the recording, but I'm really interested to hear the scuttlebutt now. Yeah, and I'm definitely, you know, doing that kind of like community listening and consulting work. I'm totally happy to come on with anyone's proposal if you think that would be helpful in, you know, getting your proposal up there. I'm happy to, you know, help write myself in to do something.
Audrey, remind me when your new book comes out.
That comes out in fall. We don't have a specific date yet. So fall 2022, 12 steps to a community led library. Okay.
I, for one, would make a pitch for co-opting a library's work meeting to hear about it. I'm just gonna exploit the fact that no one else is talking. I would like to hear more from Marty about your role doing finance stuff. Tell us again your title. I thought that was a really unique, but very critical.
I'm the Careers and Personal Finance Librarian.
Can you speak a little bit about how those things go together? I mean, I think we know how they go together, but.
Yeah. You know, I started out as being just the careers librarian. And then there were more and more personal finance topics that kept bubbling up to our attention. And so because no one else was doing anything related to personal finance, I kind of took that under my umbrella and started working with those resources. And now we have, in addition to a career development page, we have a personal finance page where we have our e-resources listed, and we have career and finance boards throughout our 14-branch library system where we post career and finance information. We partner with some of our some community organizations like the Workforce Partnership and the Women's Employment Network and a local credit counseling service. We do programs about a whole range of topics in addition to our career programs, you know, on resumes and interviewing and networking. We do programs on budgeting, money apps, mint.com, retirement investing, retirement savings. We just did one on senior housing options. We have one coming up on wills and powers of attorney. And the nice thing is that during the pandemic, we, as everyone did, we pivoted to virtual programming, and we started recording those. And then we developed archives, a personal finance archive and a career development archive that's accessible from those research pages. So the programs that have been presented over the past almost 2 years are available in the archive. So that's primarily what we do. I have a team of staff that I work with, the career and finance team, and we work to disseminate information to the rest of our staff about any information related to those 2 areas, and any kind of like CFPB or SEC information that's available that we can post or put on display. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. The reason I'm sort of intrigued by that is because it's an area I don't know very much about, and this is embarrassing. So this is the connection. Let's see if I can make it really succinctly. So one of the resources that people are starting to look at more and more to, basically looking to our immigrant workforce to help fill, employment gaps because of the labor shortage. And then that just huge area of untapped talent, right? So many people come to our country with these high level jobs that are, like driving taxis and things like that. We've all heard those stories. But there's an increasing realization, especially because of our current immigration policy, that is a segment of the workforce that is, could be very powerful and should be tapped. So my husband is an immigrant, he's Canadian, and reminded me that a huge barrier that even he faced when he came here, and he's a tradesman, he speaks perfect English, not French Canadian, but that to establish credit in this country. And basically he was forced to live off credit cards until he was able to get his green card and work legally. And then, immediately was, had to deal with that part of it. And is not the kind of person that used credit cards before that, but that was just like the only way to do it. And then you look at all this sort of predatory practices around credit cards and things like that. So I felt like that was a huge aha moment for me, that it seemed like I should have had, but
so
yeah,
what,
that's why I asked.
I'm curious, which resources did he use to get the information he needed to establish credit?
Well, I think he got credit cards in this country, and a lot of, that's how they, one way to build your credit score is to get credit cards and pay off your credit card bills. I mean, it's like, taking out loans is another way to do it, and things like that. So I don't know that, he wasn't married to a librarian at the time. We didn't even know each other. So, and I wouldn't have known where to direct him anyway. I just would have said, I'm sure the library can help you there. But, for somebody who is, a journeyman electrician, very much in demand profession, not a lot of cultural, he would hate for me to say this, cultural difference between British Columbia and Washington State, so kind of had, probably the least difficult situation of many people, but yet still, was dealing with that. So you just kind of pull back from there and think about folks who come into our country with limited English and, don't know how banking and credit and things like that work. And, it's not dissimilar in Canada, right? There's not that many, big differences where there would be from folks who come from, cultures further from ours. So that's why I asked.
And, I'm pleased to say that I just saw that there's a job fair this Friday in Kansas City. We're part of the greater Kansas City metro area, and it's called Welcome KC, and it's coordinated by like the workforce partnership, the workforce development people, and then the two organizations here that work with immigrants and refugees, which is the Jewish Vocational Services and Catholic Charities. And they are hosting this job fair, and they were looking for employers and who might not be aware of just what a talent pool immigrants and refugees represent, and encouraging them to come to this job fair and meet with refugees and immigrants and those who work to get them resettled and established, et cetera. So
Cool.
yeah.
That later on. Randy, I think you're the only person that has joined us that we haven't been introduced to.
Hello, I'm so sorry for being a few minutes late. Excuse me. My name's Brandy Chandler. I'm the Community Workforce Specialist right next door to Marty over at Mid-Continent Public Library, which is the Kansas City area. We've got a lot of rules about what library system is what, but just suffice it to say, I'm suburban Kansas City. And I'm 6 months in the job, and I am really still figuring this out. Rhiannon invited me, so thank you, Rhiannon.
No, thanks for coming. And where did you come from? You're new in the workforce development arena, or?
Yes,
all of the
so
above?
I've been in the library for about 5 years, part-time, and I got the workforce development job because I'm very good at teaching people how to do things without making them feel stupid. I'm very good at that. So I've been putting that skill to good use.
Brandy, could you say just a few words about the Agilities tool that has been developed by the local foundation? I just went to an Agilities coaches training last week, so it's fresh in my mind.
So I just went to a refresher course. I am now a certified Agilities coach, as are you now, Marty, is that right?
Yes.
So Agilities is an assessment that was developed by the DeBruce Foundation. Their entire mission is expanding opportunities for career pathways. And rather than the like the RIA SEC quiz, where it tells you what your job might be, rather than those RIASEC quizzes, it tells you what your transferable skills might be. So your top agility might be judging and estimating. You might discover that you're really good at planning work. You might discover that you're really good at organizing. Mine is innovating and coming at things with different perspectives. So it gives people really good information to use for resume building, which is what I've been spending the most of my time doing. But there's also occupational explorer tools where it takes data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and it says, okay, if you want to be, like you said, a lineman, your skill is operating objects. So what else can that transfer to? What other jobs can you do that have to do with operating objects? If you go to agilities.org, you'll see the Agile Work Profiler. That's the quiz that you would take. And it is a very, very good tool. It's something that a lot of people can get use out of. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And now I'll stop being goofy.
That's a beautiful explanation. And also, I just want to mention that it's so valuable to the KC metro area because it uses data about jobs that are in demand in our area. It uses regional data in the tool. So someone can look up and get a good feel for what the demand is for a lineman in the Kansas City metro area.
And there is a national toggle. So if you're curious to see what that position looks like nationwide, you can get a nationwide ratio or rate, but locally, we've got Kansas City specific data as well.
Just curious, have any of you heard of Pure Post yet? Okay.
Only through you.
Okay. I'll let you know how it goes, Elizabeth. So,
yeah, I'm intrigued.
Carrie, did you know Kat Wright by chance? Those of you from Mid-Continent? No? Okay. She was
I
from
don't
the,
know by name.
yeah, she
Wait,
was,
is she the Raytown manager?
yes.
Yes, I do know Kat. I like Kat. I just didn't know her last name.
She sat next to me on the plane, flying into
Oh.
Portland. So I was like, librarians live in a small world, you know?
Yes,
So
that's true.
good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
So is agility a proprietary tool? Sounds like, no?
No, you can use, it's completely free. I probably should know a little bit more about this. I don't know very much about the DeBruce company and how, I believe it might have been pharmaceutical, but they made a bunch of money and then they spun off a foundation to help other people make a bunch of money.
You're putting your talent to work, making things understandable. I love it.
Yeah.
Don't have to take a quiz to recognize that agility. Well, I am intrigued by this.
Yeah, it's really useful. I find it a little bit limiting in most of the sessions that I do are one-on-one 90% of the time. So it's kind of hard to have people do a quiz and I just sit across from them for 10 minutes while they do the quiz. I feel like it works really well in classroom settings. I know that a lot of high school career counselors use it, but I do kind of give it to people for homework if I'm going to have them work on the resume.
And Brandy, I know there was mention of a cohort that meets on a regular basis of library staff. Are you part of that cohort?
That has not started yet. And when it does, you know that your card is in the top left of my drawer. I know how to get hold of you.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I would propose that for another future topic to do a deeper dive into agilities.
It's very cool. Thanks for the reminder to say something about that, Marty. And I'm all ears for anything that you guys can tell me to help get people to programs. Now, Audrey, I know that I don't just do programs and wait for people to show up. I know, you told me I won't do that. So I'm looking forward to building relationships out in the community and talk about what other organizations are hearing, what they need, and how to do that. But if you have any ideas for how to publicize programs for people who need help right now, that would be great.
It's funny, you should say that, Brandley, because we've been talking, Elizabeth and I, with Lara Clark about that for a while, because we've offered so many digital literacy classes, Grow with Google classes, first time computer classes, all of those things. But at some point, it's difficult to get people to attend them. And in our area, you know, as I'm sure all of you are experiencing, there's an acute labor shortage out there. So anyone who wants a job and doesn't have a major barrier like transportation or childcare or something like that can work. So they're not really coming to the classes. They would be very happy if we could provide bus routes to employers or childcare for their kids so they could work. We're doing those things, but it's really hard to actually get people to attend those kinds of classes. So I'm with you on that.
I attended and you all may have, some of you may have attended it too, the Libraries and Alternative Locations webinar that was last week. It was offered by Libraries Without Borders organization. And some of these things came up in that session about offering the Libraries Without Borders has partnered with the Coin Laundry Association to have programs, whether it's ESL, workforce career development programs in the laundromat, since that's a captive audience, in addition to having story times and other things. So I thought that was really interesting. They are doing it in Texas and in Baltimore, Maryland. So I thought that was interesting in relation to your conversation.
That's a good idea. I kind of want to post up in a barbershop or a beauty salon and see what I could do there. I don't know if I can try that.
I tell you what, I do more reader's advisory and like selling Overdrive and stuff while I'm waiting to get a pedicure than I feel like the state should be paying for my pedicures. I don't think that's gonna happen. That reminds me of a brainstorm that I had earlier today that there's all these CE opportunities out there. Like if you let your calendar get cluttered by all this great, people have seized the webinar opportunity. Everybody's doing webinars on all this great stuff. And there's all this amazing knowledge sharing happening, but it's almost like too much. Where do I go? What's really going to be useful kind of thing. So I was thinking that like if we had a way to, like when you go to an interesting thing like that, to almost write up a couple sentences about why you felt it was so valuable, and then with a link to it, and we could do like the monthly best of the best in CE from the previous month or something like that. What do y'all think about that idea? Okay. Now this is the point where somebody will volunteer to coordinate it, and it will not be me. Anybody love it enough to give it some time? Okay, well.
Not all at once now.
I know, right?
I'm happy to, if you all want to send your information to me and I can send it out.
Okay.
What does this group mean? This is a listserv plus a Zoom meeting. Is that how this group interacts?
It's a listserv, Zoom meeting, and LinkedIn group.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it could just be as easy as reminding folks to, post to the LinkedIn group. Like that could be a place to keep it. It's a little bit more, it's something that we would want the information to be there when folks are ready to go find it. So maybe the LinkedIn group is better, whereas a listserv, it gets lost if you didn't read the email right then or something like that. I'm totally open to a form. Any other ideas?
I will mention, Brandy, I don't know what you have in your community, but one thing that we have done that is working, and sometimes you try to do all the right things and it just doesn't work. Like we've gone and done job search skills classes in some projects, like gone there, done the classes, and then got transportation for people who went through the class to come to the library and had them work one-on-one with volunteers that we find to work with people. And that's worked really well, but you never know what's going to happen in the community. Like we had, the last time we did it, someone was shot within a block of where we were doing the workshop. So then the day that we were expecting all these people to come the following morning, nobody would go outside. So sometimes you're hitting those barriers or things like that. One of the things we did recently was we tried to do what we call job search success classes in Spanish, which would be all the basic ways of finding a job, like finding a job 101. Went through all that trouble. We had one of our staff go to community events within the neighborhoods in our Hispanic communities. Still couldn't get anybody to attend. So we just said, okay, we gave up. A year goes by, COVID's getting better. We now created a partnership with our Esperanza Center, our local Hispanic organization. And they explained to us that back in the vaccine days, they had 300 slots, and we have something like 400 to 600 Hispanic communities, our families in our area, most non-English speaking. And the way they got them to come for the vaccine was through texting, and it worked, and that worked. Then we found out on further research that the community really loves Facebook. So this time we decided to do Hispanic hiring events, which we are doing later this month. And we're working with our Esperanza Center to schedule everybody an appointment via text. We also got volunteers to be interpreters to walk them, to meet everybody one-on-one going into the job fairs. And we put an ad on Facebook in Spanish, and we're getting lots of responses. But it took us like a while to figure that out. So I think it all depends on the community where you are and who you're playing to as well.
Yeah. That's really encouraging. Thank you.
So it's just like getting to know, I think with the way everybody gets information now, it seems like the word of mouth is, we're back to that again, where people are, rather than, you know, the library blasting everything out through email or through flyers or things like that. It's that one-on-one connection with your community partners that will work with you. And you have to be patient with people because everybody's so busy. It takes time and effort. And then those stories are huge. Like one story leads to another. So doing stories will help. But it takes time, I think. It really does. And I think everybody's library is in a different situation depending on what's happening in your area. So. Good. Good to see you, Audrey. Good.
I don't know if I went to that webinar or not, Audrey. I tend to go to all the ones that you do. They're always great. I haven't been to a bad one yet.
It's not recorded and it's free. So yeah.
Cool.
Grab it if you want to.
What
You guys want to
else?
hear something funny on
Yeah.
this webinar thing that you
Yep.
just link to the webinar? I am not entirely 100% positive, but I think my face has been photoshopped in that stock image.
The job search qualification.
Yeah, jean jacket, blue pants. I'm pretty sure that's me, but they photoshopped me and changed my hair. And I had a heart attack the first time I saw that picture. Okay. I think it got pulled down off of a show I did, and somebody changed it and took out my hair and gave me an auburn wig.
Why would they take out your fabulous hair?
I don't know.
I really love your hair. They shouldn't do that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm like
Yeah.
peering at the teeny tiny picture, being like,
Curly girls should fight back.
Yeah. Anyway,
"Yeah,
that was,
change the photo."
it just kind of jumped out at me when I clicked on that link and saw that picture come out. So anyway.
You
Huh.
want me to ask them to change the photo?
Mm-mm.
Should I ask them to change the photo? Okay. No, I'm
It's on
uncomfortable.
Dreams Time. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just weird.
Weird.
Well,
I'm curious, looking at the agenda for the Wall Street Journal Job Summit going on right now. Natalie, was there something this morning other than the program that you mentioned that stood out to you? You're on mute. Natalie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I did the opening session and the session I heard was from Indeed on hiring second chance workers, which we're big into here. That was that. So I didn't get much beyond that when this one started. So because they started a networking session. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. It was going back like we just did a program on salary negotiation here. And so they had one similar. So I was just listening to compare their content to our content, and it was very similar. So
Okay.
I was mostly attending to see if they were doing anything differently than we're already speaking to. And so far I haven't found that.
Okay.
I've never heard of the Wall Street Journal Job Summit, so thank you. And to that point, what streams of information are you guys following that I need to jump on and find out what's happening in this world?
You need to become a certified workforce development professional. That's
yes. I will definitely do that.
Are you doing that, Natalie?
I'm going to. Tammy convinced me. So
hey, which pathway are you taking?
I'm just going to take the test because I had been procrastinating because we were looking at various forms of training. And Tammy was like, with all the experience you have, you will ace it without doing that. And that's just a roadblock. So to take the test, you just have to join the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals and then pay the $300 to take the test. So I'm going to do it. So it's on my list as soon as I get through my daughter's wedding.
Okay. Well,
I need to study up a little bit. So
yeah. Okay.
So I think that's important. But Brandy, there are so many things you can do, like I would say associated with the workforce investment boards, with the National Skills Coalition. The Wall Street Journal just did this summit because I think it's a hot topic right now because everybody is experiencing a labor shortage. If you haven't read, we talked about the demographic drought last month. And you can go out and find that, just Google it. And it's a report by Burning Glass and there's a video like this. And then you can download the report, read that thoroughly. There we go. There's all kinds of data and information in that. There's another report that came out on the end of July on the mid-career job seeker, ages 45 to 65, and how they are discriminated against in the workplace. There's just there's a lot that you can do. And if you go out to the Public Library Association website and look up everything they have on workforce, there's multiple webinars that we have done in the last 2 years that you can watch, like on labor market information, on Elizabeth presented on their resources, on LinkedIn Learning. Just go through that and there's just all kinds of things that you can follow. So
okay,
lots of things.
Okay.
I like Workforce GPS as well.
Yeah, I get that one.
Roundup.
Okay.
I threw in the National Association of Workforce Boards podcast. I don't
just
find
saw
their email
thank you.
their newsletter that
I'm sure it's on there somewhere.
just trying to get you to go to the conference, but the podcast is good.
Yeah, and
that one.
Yeah, there you go. Hillary she's our Kentucky State workforce librarian. She's good at managing all this. We don't have anybody from Pennsylvania on today, do we? I don't think so. Okay. The new Pennsylvania State Librarian used to work with us here. So.
And Natalie, I'm sorry, where are you?
In Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay.
I also like the Coursera reports. Yeah, that recently.
Right,
that's on the list.
It's the one that I printed, Impact of Labor Market Trends on Skills Development in the
Can you
US.
put that, can you spell that or put it in the chat?
For those who don't know, Hillary is like a patron saint for Kentucky libraries. Yeah, I don't know when she sleeps. She's fantastic.
Right. And actually, speaking of Hillary, next month, Hillary, why don't you tell everybody what you've arranged for us, as long as Justin's here too.
Well, this involves Justin's library, actually. So 2 library staff from Justin's library in the McCracken County Public Library in Paducah, Kentucky. They are presenting on re-entry kits and how to help those who are formerly incarcerated get connected back into the workforce. So I'm excited to have both Leslie Garrett and Emily Steele come in and share with you all about those kits. I'll try to drop in the chat the programming librarian site did a profile on them. So really excited to have them come. And they're actually going to do a webinar for KDLA too, but I'm so excited to have them here. Thank you, Natalie and Justin.
Did we do in the PLA Workforce Development Series in the fall, did we do a webinar on reentry?
I think we did, but I can't remember.
That was one of the first things I listened to when I began this job. I think so.
Yeah, I'm at fault there. I don't pay as much attention because we have this unbelievable organization in our area called the Life Learning Center. And they now own the market. They take anyone coming through family courts and out of the process, if you will, and put them through a 6-week training program. And then they have relationships with like 150 different employers who will hire them and give them a second chance. The only ones they won't do, I think, are sex offenders. So we tend to not worry as much.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
Right. Sorry, my desk is a disaster. Okay, so we've got May booked. And what did we figure out for June? Can somebody remind me? I thought we had a plan for June.
We were debating on whether we were taking June, July, and August off at some point, just because it's summer reading time and very busy. Weren't sure, but because workforce is becoming so powerful, we were debating on whether or not we should do that. So,
well, we could, I guess, you know, I hate doing doodle polls and things like that with y'all. I feel like I spend so much time asking these questions and then nobody responds.
I don't have anything to do for summer reading.
What?
I don't have to do summer reading, so.
Yeah, I don't do summer reading either, so it doesn't affect
then we could keep going. Maybe we just take July off or something.
Okay. What do you got going on in July, Natalie?
No, July, I'm available. June is my hard month.
June, okay.
July, I'll be here.
Okay.
So it's all good. Oh, good.
Well, we could propose, you know, I could volunteer Randy to do something on the agility.
No problem.
For June. Or wait, are we taking June or July off? Which one?
You guys decide.
Are you going to be here for the June, Natalie?
I think, let me look, that is June. What's the actual date? My brain will be back by then, I think. That's June 14th. Yes, I will be here.
All right.
So let's think about it.
I'll do it.
We won't ask you to facilitate. Do we have somebody to volunteer to facilitate, or Brandy, do you want to just take the whole show?
Well, since I haven't actually seen an entire meeting, I probably don't want to volunteer to facilitate.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
It's always good to note if anyone has any hot topic or any update or something that you think the others would like to hear about. Generally, when we get together, everyone introduces themselves. So we all get to know each other across the country. It's a great group. And then we have the presentation and any questions after the fact. That's normally what we've tried to do, but with PLA and everything happening, it's been a little bit crazy. So I think next month we return to our normal schedule. So I'm also always happy to have somebody present on Pure Post, but I was kind of holding that off until we started using it and I saw exactly how it could work. How many of you are using jobscan.co as a database at your libraries? Anybody?
I was thinking about it.
We are highly recommend it. We're finding it to be a great resource, and it's an attracting an unusual, difficult population to get into the libraries. It's the people that are drawn to it are guys in their late 20s and 30s that are used to gaming. If they're looking for jobs, it's like a game. It's a challenge. And the way jobscan.co works for us is we contracted with them to get 200 licenses that we can get people who are attending our job search programs. We provide them a premium account while they're looking for a job. Then once they land, then we pull it back and give it to someone else. And we've never run out of licenses, but it's kind of a really fun database to use. I could have someone do a presentation on that for us if any of you would like to hear it. So that's something to think about down the road, but it doesn't cost a lot of money and it has great benefits. So
I'm interested in both of those. I wonder if, do you feel like, so JobScan and what's the other one?
JobScan.co and Pure Post is the other one. Pure Post is the one that stems from the company started working with veterans who are transitioning out of the military and taking their veteran resume, if you will, and their job description, and then helping people put that through an algorithm into layman's terms and what we use in the normal business world outside of the military. So that's how they started out. And they tie in with ONET big time into what's out there. And now they've made it available to everyone, not just military. And they're also targeting it to companies so that companies tend to move people up through their various hierarchies and don't necessarily use the best skills of some of their employees. So it's a way to do and match employees with jobs that they're out there and do a better tie-in of skills. So they're marketing it to organizations like libraries and to companies, but we're doing a test of the program. And I really wanted to have us be testing it for a while. We're getting a year trial subscription before I, brought it out to the group. But if any of you haven't read this book, it's called Mission Transition. It's by Matthew Lewis. It's excellent on dealing with veterans if you're dealing with a lot of veterans in your community, but he is the president of Pure Post. But it's a guy out of San Francisco actually started the company and is the brains behind all of it. So I kind of like to wait and see how we do with that before I commit to it. But we could probably do jobscan.co in June if you wanted to see how that works. And it would be interesting not only to consider using it for patrons, but it would probably be like a professional benefit for everyone participating as well. Because if you ever wanted to go out and as a professional look at another job, it's great to understand how the database works. And it really makes you understand applicant tracking software and how, if you don't know how ATS works and you just lose your job and you're one of those people that sits there all day and submits applications online and gets nowhere, it will really make you understand that whole process. So I'll do that for June if you want to. I can arrange it.
Oh, wait, we got June.
Oh, we got June.
Brandy, but July then.
All right, I'm sorry, Brandy. I missed that you were going to do that.
I can't believe you're volunteering for June anyway, Natalie.
I know. Well, it's after the wedding. I meant Brandy's doing that. And then I can do jobs. What's the date in July? Just so I make sure we don't.
The 12th.
12th.
I also will not take very long to do agilities. It's pretty simple.
Okay. I'll do July on jobscan.co.
So Brandy, including like the certified trainer piece?
Well, I guess I want to know a little bit more about what you're interested in seeing. I can walk you through the Agile work profiler. I would need a volunteer to kind of answer some of those questions. It might be useful to actually see somebody do the quiz in real time, but it takes 10 minutes. So
you can always give pre-work. You might get 2 or 3 people from here that would have done the pre-work.
Yeah. and then just kind of walking through the Occupation Explorer and the Career Explorer tools. It doesn't necessarily take longer than about 15-20 minutes. I wouldn't be doing the coach training unless you wanted me to bring the actual coach trainer, in which case I could probably do that.
Tell us about that.
So that, in order to become a certified agilities coach, it was kind of a 1.5 day training, but they do a condensed demonstration of it for anybody who's thinking about becoming a trainer. And actually, now that I think about that, she might be a really good person to bring on as a guest, and the 2 of us could kind of tag team a presentation.
Sounds good. You got it.
All right, we'll do it that way.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like we're not getting summer break, folks. Maybe August. Okay.
All right.
Any parting thoughts?
No. Any comments from anybody? Anyone have anything new they wanted to share? Okay. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth, for setting up the Zoom and doing everything as usual.
Sure.
So,
and I will farm the chat for a recap. If anything occurs to you, so Carrie, you were going to send us the 6 things.
I did. Elizabeth, you have an email. So that's fine.
Okay, I'll include that. Anything else? What am I missing? Okay.
I think we're good.
And then once that is done, who is facilitating for the reentry kits?
Hillary.
Okay. So Hillary, that just includes like sending out the pre-meeting, reminding people of the meeting thing. Okay. So articulate.
Okay, so what can I forward the do something like forward the email that you usually send us, and then but update it with the reminder about the meeting, or is there something else I need to do?
Oh, just send it to the list. Yeah, okay. If that's what you mean by forward. Yeah, don't send it to me.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I would say then if you do have any great professional development experiences in the next month, post them to the LinkedIn group. So that's where that's going to be until somebody wants to do more with it. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Great to see everybody. Great to meet some new faces. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you. Thank you all for being so welcoming.
You again, Patrice. And Melanie, finally you made it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and I'm really wanting to hope I can make it every month. So I've been messing with my workload to open up some space. So thank you.
Well, we will expect you if that helps.
Okay, thank you. That expectation will definitely help me.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.